Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Now, if Kamala gets her way, you will no longer get to enjoy private health insurance or gas-powered vehicles or plastic straws. I don't know about you. I hate the paper straws. It'll ruin any drink.
Like the Democrats have this bat signal that goes out, like, here's the new talking point. Mm-hmm. So after saying that Joe Biden was perfectly fine and his age didn't matter at all, and he runs circles around them at the White House. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, this memo basically goes out that says Trump is now the oldest nominee in history. And it's so incredibly ridiculous because they actually seem to believe that cutesy ridiculousness like that might work. I don't think it's going to work.
All right, buckle up, because Democrats, the state-run media mob, they're now pitching Kamala as the second coming of Jesus, which I can assure you, she is not. The puff pieces, they're already being written. The accolades, they are pouring in from every radical, democratic, leftist, socialist, Marxist in the country. The phony polls, I promise you, will follow, showing she is energizing Democrats. She might even be beating Donald Trump in a swing state or two, or maybe three.
And those same people, those very same people, are now trying to convince us that Kamala Harris is some political juggernaut. She's historic. She's young. By the way, she's going to be 60 on Election Day.
And so this is going to be a race now about the past and Donald Trump, or the future, and also rights or reversal. The rights she'll protect, especially women's right to make a decision about her body, and the rights that, like that, Donald Trump has taken away with his Supreme Court nominees.
Tell me, well, the decision was to move it back to the states, and then the states decide about the rights that women have or don't have in that state.
In Florida,
which I know you understand.
6 weeks.
So President Biden's doctor in a statement that he was doing well, that his vitals were all fine, that he didn't have a fever. So why didn't he make this statement to the American people? This is one of the most consequential decisions that a sitting president has ever made. So where is he?
Yeah. You know, I'll let him dictate the terms of that. But the Joe that I know is somebody who did something that Donald Trump would never, ever do, which is to put the country first. And so we saw a selfless president in contrast with a selfish person in the way that he approached this. And so he'll, make a statement soon, I'm sure. But now I'm focused on the future.
Reports are that he was... And now, Karine Jean-Pierre, we thought we were going to get a press briefing today on this monumental decision that happened not even 24 hours ago. No press conference today, but she's going to go on The View tomorrow. Just for the American people, Eric, what should they think about all of this? A lot of people go, this is crazy. Where is he?
Well, they should think that for the past 43 months, he hasn't had any cabinet controversies.
They're not meeting, apparently.
Almost no one from Donald Trump's cabinet.
You don't have controversies if you tell everybody what to say when they walk in the room.
But also just look legislatively how consequential he has been. Our kids will drive on the roads that he built. They'll power their phones with chips that he
Well, don't they deserve to hear from the president then?
And he's going to speak to the American people. But again, there have been, his cabinet will show up at Kamala Harris's acceptance of her nomination speech. Donald Trump wasn't able to say that.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, it's Jeff. I hope everybody is having a good day. Raining here today in Maine. just showers, though, mostly up north in Maine, but it's made the skies cloudy here. We did have a pretty good shower there this morning, but you know, like I said, you get a few days of good weather and you pay for it with a few days of rain, so that's the way it is here. So in the little clip there, or series of clips, you can see that Fox News is, sort of like throwing shit on the wall to see what'll stick, because they don't know what to do. They're kind of like, now they got to rethink their whole attack strategy against the Democrats here, now that Kamala is the one running for the presidency. And they're making these bizarre statements, which I'm sure people like me will be recording and keeping for little nuggets to attack them with later, because they really are just hanging themselves right and left. But yeah, that's just a few of the things that's going on over there at Fox. That's really kind of funny, because they seem so sure. But now that the age argument is on them now, because their candidate is 78 years old, makes him the oldest to run for president. They can't even attack Kamala on that. Oh, she's going to turn 60, but ooh, big 60. She's still 18 or 20 years younger than fucking Trump. It's just, you know what I'm saying? So everything's been turned around on them, and and the only thing that I think they'll be able to go after her on is, being just a prosecutor. But she's got way more background in that. I mean, she was a senator, and she was, government for a long time. She, and did a lot as a prosecutor. Okay, and she's not a nobody, and she certainly outstrips Biden. I mean, outstrips Trump's intelligence by a mile. I mean, Jesus. I mean, everyone's kind of waiting for this debate, if there's going to be one, between her and Trump. And if Trump's smart, he'll back out of this thing, okay, and not try and debate her, because he'll lose. He'll lose bad, because she's not going to let this fucking criminal here walk all over her. You can bet your ass on that. And of course, they're going to use that aggressiveness that she has against her by saying, oh, you see, she's a woman, and she's, they're going to come up with all kinds of misogynistic things to say, about her, because she's, fiery, and stuff, because she's younger than Trump, and she'll be able to outmatch him with wit and stuff. You know what I'm saying? She'll be able to mop the floor with him. So that'll be a debate to see. And like I said, if he doesn't back out, I think he's going to back out personally. I don't think the party's going to want him to debate her. They'll find some reason, okay? And as far as Kamala goes, I mean, she's calling all kinds of delegates, trying to get their support. She's getting lots of money, donations and stuff like that. I think, who was it, the heiress here to Disney, she released $50-60 million or something like that to Kamala's campaign. And it's just money's coming out now. So when the money's back now, that means the Democrats are back in the race. And and again, that really brings up the whole idea about money in politics, and how we really got to stop this shit, because every election cycle it gets more and more expensive to run for a goddamn office. Okay, and who benefits at the end of the day from from getting somebody in there? And it's the rich now. I mean, yeah, we got the numbers of voters and stuff like that, but you see how they've manipulated this election already. They managed to get our own president out of the race by withholding donations to the Democrat Party until he was replaced. And believe me, I don't think Biden had any choice. You know, he didn't want to see this country go in the hands of a goddamn fascist, so he had no choice but to step down and give it to her, to Kamala. And so that's what I'm talking about. That shouldn't have happened. You know, in a free society, we shouldn't have, you know, big money dictating who we get to choose for a fucking, you know, president. But then it goes back to the idea that, you know, we always end up with two choices. Why can't we have 3, 4, 5 or more choices for president? Why do we always have to end up with just 2? You know? So, anyway, in the news here, with no surprise at all, to me anyway, the Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, I guess that's how you say her name, she resigned. And that's over the attempted assassination of Trump. So I'm going to read this from Axios. It was written about 5 hours ago. U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned on Tuesday following the attempted assassination of former President Trump earlier this month at a rally in Pennsylvania. She faced blistering criticism and mounting bipartisan calls to step down after the Trump rally shooting. By her own admission, it marked the, quote, most significant operational failure of the Secret Service in decades, unquote. The shooting by a lone gunman killed 1 person and wounded the Republican presidential nominee and 2 others. Cheadle's resignation comes as the Secret Service faces intense scrutiny from numerous federal and congressional probes. The agency did not immediately respond Tuesday to Axios' request for comment. Quote, as a leader, it takes honor, courage, and incredible integrity to take full responsibility for an organization tasked with one of the most challenging jobs in public service, unquote, Biden said. Quote, the independent review to get to the bottom of what happened on July 13th continues, and I look forward to assessing its conclusions. We all know what happened that day can never happen again, unquote. He added that he would appoint a new director soon. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced Tuesday that he has appointed Secret Service Deputy Director Ronald Rowe as acting director of the agency following Cheadle's resignation. Quote, I appreciate his willingness to lead the Secret Service at this incredibly challenging moment as the agency works to get to the bottom of exactly what happened on July 13 and cooperate with ongoing investigations and congressional oversight, unquote, Mayorkas said in a statement. House Speaker Mike Johnson said today that Cheadle's resignation was, quote unquote, overdue, adding that, quote, she should have done this at least a week ago, unquote. Quote, the stakes are too high, it's very dangerous time, and we need the Secret Service to be performing at the top of their game, unquote, he said. Johnson and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries announced earlier Tuesday a bipartisan task force to investigate the assassination attempt. The panel will be responsible for, quote, recommendations for reform to the relevant government agencies and recommend any necessary legislation to implement the reforms, unquote, Johnson and Jeffrey said. Cheadle was grilled in a hearing before the House Oversight Committee on Monday. During the hearing, multiple Republican Democratic lawmakers called on her to step down. In her opening statement, Cheadle said she accepted, quote, full responsibility, unquote, for the security lapses before and during Trump's rally near Butler, Pennsylvania. While being questioned, Cheadle frustrated members of the panel by repeatedly declining to give direct answers or elaborate on specific details, citing the ongoing FBI investigation. House lawmakers have said that FBI and Secret Service officials told them that the building from which the gunman fired his shots was identified as a, quote, an area of concern, unquote, as early as 5 days ahead of the event. On the day of the rally, the Secret Service was notified of a suspicious person with a rangefinder about 10 minutes before Trump walked on stage and roughly 20 minutes before shots were fired. The Secret Service had increased its protective measures around Trump ahead of the rally after the U.S. received intelligence concerning an Iranian plot to assassinate him. However, the service had also denied requests for additional federal resources from Trump's security detail over the 2 years before the assassination attempt, according to the New York Times. The FBI, which is investigating the shooting as a potential act of domestic terrorism, has yet to determine the gunman's motive. The little information so far released about the gunman, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, has not clearly indicated political or ideological intentions behind the attack. Crooks was registered as a Republican and donated money to a Democratic political action committee, but was also too young to have voted in any previous presidential election. Okay, so yeah, the puzzle about the gunman continues to be a head scratcher for investigators. But at the end of the day, he's dead anyway, so I mean, what could they possibly learn from him? I mean, was he attached to any groups or anything like that? I mean, if they can't find anything linking him to some other group, then I guess, you know, you could say that, you know, he was just, you know, bizarre or possibly mentally handicapped or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, if they can't come up with some good reason, and there really is, at the end of the day, you know, the reasons for things like that usually are political. If your target is a person and you know, in the political system, you know, so he may be a Republican but donated to Democrats. You know, I don't know. You know, you would think with today, you know, with the internet and everything, they would be able to nail down something more specific than that by now, but who knows. But Cheadle stepping down was the right thing for her to do politically, because you know what's they're gonna go through the Secret Service here with a fine-tooth comb to find out, you know, what happened, you know, on that day. Of course, a lot of us, you know, are saying, well, don't break your neck over it because Trump's all right. But, you know, the truth is one person is dead, you know, and we can't just whitewash it because, you know, of Trump. You know, a person died there from either a bullet or shrapnel or something. I don't know. I mean, the story that, you know, kind of changes in details day to day on exactly what was flying around through the air. You know, now they're saying that, you know, Trump wasn't hit by a bullet, he was just nicked by debris or something, as others were that day they were at the rally. So, but, you know, again, people are still wondering why Trump's so secretive about the injury and why he asked his doctors not to speak anything of it to the press. You know, it's like, well, why would he want to hide the fact that, you know, he you know, because we saw it. I mean, we saw that he got hit in the side of the head there somehow with something, you know. But, you know, what was said was he didn't need any stitches, so the damage wasn't that severe. But yet he walks out with a goddamn bandage there that covers half his head there. Everybody's calling it a diaper, you know. And people are accusing him of playing it up, you know, for sympathy. And wouldn't you know what, there were some MAGA people in the crowd at the convention there last week who felt like they should wear a diaper on the side of their, you know, people, MAGA people are fucking nuts, okay? They really are. And it's a cult. It truly is a cult. And I think more and more people are coming to that realization that, you know, MAGA movement is not a healthy thing in this country. It really isn't. It's filled with people who shouldn't, a lot of them shouldn't even be out on the street. Some of them are probably, you know, people that were discharged out of a fucking hospital, you know, out of a mental institute, and, you know, what can I say? I mean, these are people who are, you know, who still have the right to vote, but don't have the common sense to vote the right for the best thing, you know. should people like that be allowed to vote if they don't really know why the hell they're voting, or what the hell the stakes? I mean, I don't know. That's a question that some politician would have to. I mean, then people would have to be means tested, I guess, before they could vote. To sure they understand the basics of civics and what's going on currently in the government. Before they're allowed to vote. Certainly, there are standards, like if you've been a felon or something, you can't vote. But should we just stop there? I mean, should we, question people's state of mind? I mean, I don't know. And the same thing could be said about juries. I mean, is it fair to have a jury of your peers if all your peers are a bunch of dingbats? I mean, to sit, over what they think. Personally, I don't think that should be that way. I think that a jury should be intelligent enough, who knows something about the law, so they can come back with just rulings. They're not judges; they're just jurors. And when they talk in the back room, during deliberations, they should be able to understand each other and come to a decision based on the law. I think, of course, when they do that and say, well, we got to pay the jurors in if we have to do that. Well, they get some money anyway. I mean, it's not a lot, but, if a juror has to be taken out of their job, they get some kind of compensation for that. But, every community should have, a certain number of people who will be called on, who are educated, and, they don't always have to be there. They can, because they might have a big pool of selectees. And they'll just choose out of that. Can you do this? Do you have any? Just to make it more fair, so that way you don't have to worry about people being there who are dim-witted, or they got an agenda, or they're in there to fuck around and goof off, and that these people are professionals and they do this for maybe not for a living, but they're educated enough so that way they can do their job well. So that's a thing. I mean, we have to start somewhere to brush up the system, to polish it, to make it work better, I think. And there's nothing wrong with having educated people as jurors. I certainly, if I was in dire straits or something, I certainly wouldn't want my life to hinge on what a bunch of dumbass jurors think and don't even understand the law. And they come back with a verdict that everybody at home is scratching his head. How the hell did they come up with that for a verdict? You know what I'm saying? And I also think the punishment for things ought to be left to the victims, the survivors, or whoever, not the judges. I think people, like let's say a theft is involved. A judge can never know the value of property stolen. Okay, only the people who've had things stolen from them know that. And so I say let them decide the fate of the person that's finally found guilty of what they did, and the judge just goes along with their punishment request. Has to be within reason, right? It has to fit the crime. But let these people decide what's fair. Because hey, it's how else are you going to know what's fair unless these people get a chance to say what's fair? If the judge alone can be the only one, I mean, he's going to look at this as a balancing act, and he's not really going to be privy to all the information, no matter what the jury says, But like I said, there's a lot of ways you can fix that to make the justice system better. But back on topic here about the Secret Service here. It's really important that, like I said, that she stepped down, so that way somebody can step in there and put a new face on it. Whenever assassination attempts or something like this happens, heads always roll from the top. Okay, I mean, can you imagine being the director of the Secret Service, like when Kennedy was shot and killed? I mean, Jesus Christ, they must have, I don't think anybody would want to be in charge of that when an incident like that happens, and Jesus. But then, like I said, you know, it just, you know, heads roll over things like that, and someone has to take the fall, and you start from the top down. I don't know what else they're going to find in this investigation that's going to help anything to figure out why it happened or, you know, whatnot. But at this point, we just have to look at the protection. Where was it? Why wasn't it aware that somebody was there on the roof? I mean, somebody said that he was using an AR-15, and the range of an AR-15 is like 400 or 500 yards. And the building that he was sitting on was within 200 yards of the stage. And people are wondering why that sphere of protection wasn't out wider than that, okay? Just for the fact that AR-15s are such a popular weapon in today's culture here that, you know, it counts for a lot of mass shootings. You know, they should have thought about that, and I guess they didn't. So let's go to a commercial break. Be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me. This is me.
This is me. This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
You can do anything. Grab him by the pussy.
He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voting. Very fine people, on both sides.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
I am your retribution. I am your retribution. And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, "Sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal."
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by rape.
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela? It's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words.
The failing New York Times by anonymous.
Struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas, detached from reality.
You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
All's enough! And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother! Let Trumpomania rule again!
One hell of a golfer.
One heck of a golf swing.
21 club championships.
The funniest person I've ever met in my life.
Tore up the dance floor until 3 in the morning with his signature moves. You guys know those moves.
Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago.
Say fight! Fight! Say fight! Fight! Say fight! Fight!
Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob.
There were people's heads being cut off at the beaches. We destroyed ISIS.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
You'll never hear me say, I'm on God's side, or God's with me, or even I'm with God.
Why would you allow Donald Trump to come into your church?
Be excited. Be excited.
Susie, it's Donald Trump.
He looked at me with a wistful smile, blowing a kiss.
I just had a flashback, man. This is really tripping.
107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens.
They literally let Navarro out of prison.
Because the only crime President Trump has committed is loving America.
What you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you, brother?
Just die. Rough. Peanuts. Hello. We're going to get to the cure for cancer.
This is the most responsible, unifying behavior of a leader I think I've ever seen.
Fight.
Welcome to the Trump 2024 convention, brought to you by Project 2025. This week in the horrible city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll see the best of the Trump Project 2025 party. It's a bold vision for a bright future. With Trump Project 2025, you'll love how new tariffs will make everything more expensive and set off runaway inflation. We know you'll appreciate paying for the big tax cut our struggling billionaires need. When you seniors are done freeloading, check out Project 2025's plan to end Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So get out of that nursing home bed and get back to work. And ladies, this convention has so much in store for you. With Project 2025, you'll learn how good you'll have it in the kitchen. Girls, if your marriage isn't working out, you'll need Project 2025's helpful tips to keep the romance alive, even if he's abusive, because we're getting rid of divorce. And if Mr. Wrong gets you pregnant, welcome to motherhood, because we've ended Roe v. Wade and we're going to criminalize birth control. And minorities, well, you didn't need those silly voting rights anyway. For you Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other fake religions, you'll get a head start on learning America is a Christian nation. Project 2025 is Donald Trump's plan for your future, and it couldn't be any brighter.
Project 2025 Bright Future Guarantee applies to white evangelical Christian men only. Other conditions may apply. Offer not valid in a functioning republic.
Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree.
You're a criminal, Donald. That's what the jury said. Not the deep state. Not the Democrats. Not the Biden administration. A jury. Regular people who saw the evidence and felt sick. You're a criminal. And you did it to yourself.
Nobody's ever seen anything like this. It's a shame.
Your defense was weak because you're weak. They had no argument because there is no argument. You were too scared to testify because you knew Donald. You know. You're guilty. Guilty as sin. Guilty as charged.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
So let's kind of break down here and bit by bit what's been going on with the Harris campaign. She's managed to get within 31 hours of announcing her run for it. She gets the majority of delegates that she needs as she's closing in on the official nomination. That's pretty fast. I mean, what's her name here? There's a story here by Jahan Jones, and it's entitled "A Black Woman Propelled a Massive Donor Surge for Kamala Harris." He wrote, "It appears that the Kamala Harris era has arrived. In our post-Citizens United world, where donations are considered speech, the flood of donations to Harris's campaign after President Joe Biden withdrew on Sunday spoke volumes. If money talks, this rush of funds sounded like relief, excitement, and even pride, all things Democrats were missing with Biden atop the ticket. Harris will finally get her chance to prosecute the case against Donald Trump as she sought to do when she ran for the Democrat nomination in 2020. And many people are eager to see it. On Sunday night, the organizers behind the group, Win with Black Women, hosted a Zoom call featuring activists and influencers. More than 44,000 people joined the call, Bloomberg News reported. The group said it raised over $1.5 million during the 90-minute call, signaling a surge of black women-led support for Harris. Black folks, black women in particular, were some of the most vocal critics of the campaign, led by Democratic insiders and backed by some media pundits, to get Biden to withdraw from the 2024 race. Their concerns were primarily due to a belief that Democrat power brokers would try to select a nominee to leapfrog Harris and lead a post-Biden ticket. In that light, the gathering, coordinated by Win with Black Women, was a show of force, demonstrating that black women, a voting bloc Democrats will rely on to win the White House and races for the House and Senate this fall, are firmly in Harris's corner. And while we should be cautious not to assume fundraising success necessarily results in electoral success, it signals a palpable energy surrounding Harris at the moment. On Monday, The Harris campaign announced it had raised $81 million in its first 24 hours across the campaign. DNC and joint fundraising committees, that was even higher than the previous record for this year, the $50 million that the Trump campaign reported raising in the 24 hours after his felony conviction in New York. Think about that for a minute. He gets convicted in New York, and people donate $50 million to his campaign. You know, it goes to show you the kind of mentality, like I was just saying in the previous segment here, what we got to deal with over there with them freaks there at MAGA. Meantime, the fundraising platform Act Blue processed tens of millions more up and down the ballot, according to a New York Times analysis, making this a massive fundraising moment for Democrats. Major donors also jumped into the fray. NBC, CNBC report that several big donors who had suspended donations to Biden, including heiress Abigail Disney, have said they're ready to throw their money behind Harris. Politico reported that, quote, Future Forward, the flagship super PAC blessed by President Joe Biden, received $150 million in new commitments from major Democrat donors in the 24 hours since the president announced he would step aside from the race, unquote. And the Hollywood Reporter reported that big money Harris backers in Los Angeles are preparing to support her presidential bid as well, in part to counter tech bros who've been backing Trump. Democrat donors, big and small, who seemed reluctant to bet big on Biden, are pushing their chips to the center of the table and appear set to go all in on the Harris campaign. So, yeah, that all sounds good news, right? That, you know, she seems to be more interesting to the Democrats than Biden was, I guess. And that's bad news for Republicans who, like I was saying before, they're, you know, tripping on themselves trying to figure out what the hell, how to attack Harris, because they're afraid. And like I said, go to that debate that's supposed to be coming up. They ain't gonna want that debate now. They're definitely not gonna want it. And so the Republicans have got the worst possible scenario there in this campaign so far. How they're going to deal with this, I think, is only going to come if Harris wins. They're going to come at her with all kinds of legalese and stuff to challenge her victory. Okay, they are not going to stop. It's going to be the denial that she won, they cheated. It's going to be this all over fucking again. Okay, because this is their playbook. That's all they know. Okay, it didn't work because, you know, Biden did his 4 years against the tide of all that criticism, and he stayed in office. But they're going to try. I know they're going to do it again. They're going to say they cheated. The Democrats cheated. They didn't. They weren't supposed to switch. You know. And like I said, nobody's been nominated in the Democrat Party yet here in this campaign. Nobody, not even the president. Okay, that doesn't happen till the convention, which we haven't had. It's when is that, next month there? So technically nobody did anything wrong, and officially there is no official way that delegates or nominations are supposed to occur in parties. There is no law or rule. These things are handled by the parties themselves. They're left with the responsibility of selecting who their running primary candidates are. Okay, there's no federal goddamn law that says they all have to do it the same way. No, they all do it their own fucking way. Okay, so this is a situation here where the Republicans are going to use every fucking legal means they can dream up to challenge a Harris victory if she wins, and that's all you're going to hear about for the next 4 years under her administration should she win. Okay, that's all you're going to hear, and it's going to be so tired. And what are they going to do? Because what, Trump? You think they're going to run him for a third time? You know, if she wins, I mean, Christ, he's already falling apart mentally right now. You know. So for them, you know, it's make or break for them. I mean, they were so certain that they had this, in the basket, or whatever the hell they say, that they had this. But now they ain't so sure now, and that's what's pissing them off. And plus the Harris campaign got some 30,000 volunteers in battleground states in just one day. I mean, that I would say that was probably young people, I would imagine, a lot of them. And now she's heading to Wisconsin for her first rally after raising $100 million since Sunday. Yeah, so it all sounds good, it all sounds good at this point. It's kind of breathed some new life into the campaign, and maybe it might have got some undecided people siding on with Kamala. Maybe this is the deciding factor for some people, that now they don't have to think about it between Trump and Biden. Now it's Trump and Kamala, and I think that's, for a lot of people, that was a more appealing choice. Okay. I feel the need to have to go back and say that Kamala could still have ended up being president even with Biden on the ticket, because after Biden would get elected, he could have resigned, during his second term, and Kamala would have stepped in to finish his term. That'd have been the other way. You could have got her in there. So, I mean, the ticket, either way, in my opinion, would have been fine. Okay. And like I said, I mean, it's, with Biden, like I said, he was getting old, and he didn't do very good in his debate, but he was very good at his rallies, and he knew the message that he needed to give to people. It's just that optics plays so much in today's politics, and I think it's optics that, energize people to Kamala, really. And I'm not saying that's the only thing alone, but she, she's younger and she's more energetic, and I think that's what people want to see. She still has the same message as Biden, okay? She still wants to help out, people that are struggling, wants to build up the middle class, and try to keep this nation on a track to helping out with the environment and stuff like that. She doesn't want to see us regress, okay? And I agree with her. We've come too far already, and it's the only resistance we're getting is from the big corporations out there that don't want to follow these, EPA rules and stuff like that. And they had to stack the Supreme Court in their favor in order to get them out of these rules that they had to follow, okay? Which I'm sure Kamala is going to try to fix that if she's president, okay? We certainly got to fix the Supreme Court, and I'm hoping that's one of the things on her agenda she's going to try to do, and as soon as she gets in there, if she wins, I'd like to see that. Because if you're a person who likes to win, you don't like people second guessing your choices, your decisions, right? And that's what the Supreme Court's been doing. There have been like backseat drivers here in this country while Biden's been in office, and undermining him at every opportunity, and that can't go on, okay? That can't go on. All the ships have to be sailing in the same direction. And the Supreme Court, they don't want to sail in our direction. They want to do their own goddamn thing, and that's just not right. Okay, you can't be a judge, a Supreme Court judge in the United States of America if you're constantly kicking the power and the legs out from under the country that you're supposed to be supporting. Okay, you don't listen to the people, okay, and you do everything against them. What do you think's going to happen to your job? You know, at the end of the day, you still can lose it. You know, I mean, they're already getting ready. I mean, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is already putting together articles of impeachment against Supreme Court judges or something like that, especially Clarence Thomas and Alito there, you know, to go after them. I don't know. She doesn't know if it's going to be of anything, but it's symbolic, you know, and it shows that the government, the people are pissed at them, you know, and the fact that, you know, and it wouldn't be the first time that, you know, a Supreme Court justice had to be removed, but you know, they need to be reminded that they aren't the be-all and end-all in this country. They still got to answer too for the things they do, and she's trying to make sure that they recognize that you know, you need to stop with this activist shit you're doing in your court here and start, you know, doing the job that you're meant to do, not the one you want to do. Okay. You know, when you give your oath to the Constitution, that's where your duty lies, not to any political party. You got to be middle of the road. So yeah, and plus the CARES campaign has been sending out vetting materials to a whole bunch of VP candidates, and you know, I guess, you know, that's the number one question I think now is, who is she going to pick? I mean, I know why Donald Trump picked J.D. Vance. Okay, I know the people have been asking, why did they pick that? Because he didn't want somebody to overshadow him. That's why. You got to remember, he's selfish. And Mike Pence couldn't overshadow Trump. That's why he picked him. He was weak and malleable, Mike Pence was, okay? And J.D. Vance is going to be the same way, weak and malleable, and you can buy him off. He's easy. He's not even old enough to even be a vice president. He's got no background at all in politics. He's only been in it for like a year and a half, if that, okay? He's so unqualified to be vice presidential material, but that's not the reason he was picked. He was picked because he's got no teeth against Trump, and he's lesser than him. Okay, that's why Trump picked him. And the thing is I think Trump knows that most of MAGA doesn't really like J.D. Vance. Okay, he wants the ticket to just be himself, Trump. Okay, Vance is just a formality, essentially, in his mind. Okay. He wasn't going to pick anybody that was going to overshadow him. He just grabbed the first dingbat he could find and say, okay, you're going to be the VP there. But this is all about me. This is all about Donald Trump. Okay? That's what this race is for. You're just in the background to just, you know, smile and applaud whenever you're told to. That's all you can do. But J.D. Vance, I guess it's okay. He doesn't mind just taking a back seat for the next 4 years if Trump wins. Okay, he don't care, because his voice won't matter. Trump will just get rid of him if the minute he shows any resistance, right? So it doesn't matter at the end of the day who his running mate is. It's all about Trump. Now Kamala, on the other hand, ain't that way. Okay, she wants to make her ticket a good one, where it's not all about her, because people in the Democrat Party do think about the unthinkable. And that's if something should happen, God forbid, to Kamala Harris while she's president, they want to have somebody ready and is capable to take the spot for her. Okay? They don't want no J.D. Vance in there. Okay? All right? We don't want no fucking J.D. Vance in the fucking second seat here. Okay? That's not going to happen. Kamala's going to make the best choice for the ticket, right, to make sure that, you know, it doesn't hurt her chances of winning, but it's also a choice that inspires confidence to the voters that, yes, this is a guy who can take the spot if he's going to or she's going to have to, okay, and that's important too. So, yeah, I mean, some people think, you know, vice presidents are just, you know, wallpaper. Okay, but it's not. It really isn't. Not when you're in when the nation's confronted with the unthinkable. Okay, you don't want wallpaper for the next president. You want somebody that can do the job, continue the job, and just keep the ball going. Okay, that's going to be an important thing for her to do. So, like I said, they sent out a whole bunch of vetting materials to people to see who they can pay. I'm sure they probably picked, they had some people in mind right off the bat that they sent stuff to. And I've been hearing a lot of different names on the radio and some names online. People have been saying, oh, should have picked this one, should have picked that one. Everybody's got to pick. Everyone's got a choice, okay? But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait to see who she picks. And then we'll analyze that person's qualifications, because certainly we can't vote for who they can pick, right? So it's out of our hands, basically, as voters, who they pick for a running mate. So we just have to sit and wait until she picks somebody. And I don't know if we'll find out before the convention or after. I don't know, or during. I don't know when that name will come out, but. I'm sure she's going to take that job seriously. Probably way more serious than Trump did when he picked J.D. Vance. Now there's people in the MAGA party that are really regretting that they even got him as a running mate. But why would they care? Because it's been about Trump for them all along. And Trump knows these MAGA people, and he understands that it's all about me. They don't care about Vance. Nothing's going to happen to me, even though he almost got shot and killed there a couple weeks ago. I mean, like I said, it's just selfishness, narcissism. How many more things have to come out about this guy before the MAGA movement out there realizes that, hey, this guy is not healthy. He's not a healthy candidate here for our party. He's, what can I say? He's really, pig-headed and narrow-minded and argumentative and always looking for a fight. And, is this what they want? A criminal rapist? I can't wait to see how he'll hang himself in a debate against Kamala, with his misogynistic mouth. It's going to look so nasty. I mean, the MAGAs will love it, but the rest of the country won't. They are not going to like hearing him on the stage in front of millions of people watching at home, him trying to cut her down because she's got him in a corner. I hope that they have a debate, but like I said, I'm not pinning my chances up there really high that there's going to be one, because I think Trump and the campaign will say, nope, we're not debating her. All right, so let's call it a day here, and everyone have a great rest of the week, and hope your weather is better than it is here right now, but not terribly hot. So please subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for any health-related issues, and treat each other kindly out there. At a time like this, it's very important that we get to see some niceties from people, some manners, some politeness. It goes a long way to making everybody's day a little bit better. So please try and do that. So I will talk to you later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.